Hi, we're Don Broco, and we're hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
When I first started listening to you guys a couple years ago, I always thought it was Don Broco. And then I finally figured it out, and I was like, shit.
I think the first
I've been saying I'm a fan, and then I can't even say their name.
The first person we ever told, we did have a previous band name that we changed because people were like, no, that's not a good name. And then we changed it to Don Broco, which doesn't mean anything, it's just made up.
Yeah.
And I remember the first person we told, they were like, oh, Don Broco, cool. And we're like, no end. So we've had that our entire career. That's what you get for picking a stupid name.
So. Well, I don't think it's stupid, but, it really tricks you. You guys are on tour right now with Mike Shinoda. This is like round 2 with Mike Shinoda. First of all, how did you guys get connected with Mike? How did that kind of happen for you guys?
So we got connected kind of last minute with his European tour, and it came through our management, our booking agent. And they're like, "Yo, do you want us to put Mike Shinoda on these dates? It's really soon." And it was a no-brainer for us because we're huge Mike Shinoda fans. We love the record. We're huge Linkin Park fans. It was our musical journey growing up has always been this dude, every part of it. So yeah, we went to Europe and we did. I think it was 4 shows with Mike. Okay. And then at the end of that run, we were just kind of chatting around, and it was one of those moments that never really happens as a band. He was like, "Yo, what are you doing? In a couple of weeks' time." We were like, "Not much." And it's like, "You want to come to America?" Yeah, cool. So it all happened really organically and really, really sweet. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, and you guys are actually, it's a great time for you guys to tour because you guys are touring on your new album, Technology. You guys went back into the studio with Jason. This is the second time with Jason. This is the third with Dan.
Yeah, so we did. We did this. We did the second record completely with Jason, and then the thing about Technology, it was like a mix. It was Dan and Jason combined. So some tracks we did Jason, some we did Dan, some we kind of were just writing on the road. So it was a real everything we'd experienced on the last 2 records, kind of just bringing it together and creating something new from that. Yeah.
Right. As you guys went into the studio with them, like how different was it this time around, especially like instrumentation?
I think we had basically the same approach, apart from we just said to ourselves, having learned maybe from our second record and the touring cycle on that, we did change some of the songs' arrangements for live. Right. Because we made that very much a studio album. It's the first time we've been in proper studios. We were so excited, and we really focused our energies in that direction. And then for this record, we decided, well, we're going to spend probably 18 months on the road touring this. We want to enjoy the live performance as much as possible. So we really made an effort, conscious effort with this record to just say, what's going to feel good live? And we wrote the songs from that perspective. So it's a lot of big riffs, a lot of big energy. And I think that's the only way we really approach things differently.
I think Jason as well. Jason definitely enjoyed this album, the songs we did with Jason, this album a lot more, because we're traditionally quite like anal-less band. We're proper control freaks. Everything has to be, we have to know, definitely the first record and the second record more than anything, we wanted to know exactly what we were going in with, and not leaving anything to the last minute because we want it to be the best. But I think Jason is a very relaxed producer. He's a vibe guy. He's very just kind of, let's try stuff out, let's mix it up, let's see what happens. And I think that working with him for the first time on our album Automatic, it was this real, like, we're super, like, this needs to be exactly this or whatever. And he's like, nah, just, don't worry about it. He's so relaxed. And, like, we ended up meeting in the middle and, really kind of, took a lot from that. So this time, we'd already worked with Jason before. We went in, we weren't worried about stuff like we were last time. We kind of just threw it together without thinking about it. Yeah. And it was a lot more fun. It's way more rewarding as well because you don't go in with this finished product. You don't know what it's going to be like until you get the final until you get it. Sometimes not even until it's mixed, you actually hear it, and it's kind of
a little nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking to a degree, but you also aren't bored of it by that point. You're hearing it, fully realized at its finished stage. Right. So you kind of have fun writing it, and then you're almost surprised when you hear the final piece. Right. So it was a lot more relaxing, a lot more kind of just see what happens and hope for the best. And like
with the experience that you guys have been having with, like, you guys have been on so many tours lately, both big and small with different genres as well. Like, so, knowing that you were going to come into the studio to create a new record, like, how much impact did that kind of have on you guys?
That's an interesting one. I think we always we take a little bit from every artist that we kind of tour with or work with and that kind of thing. And these are the kind of things that you see working well live. You can bring them into your own writing and kind of work with it that way.
It was definitely, touring Automatic was definitely the biggest shows we'd ever done. Like they were the first times we'd played in stadiums, arenas.
Do you feel it was the record that brought you guys out to those kind of stadiums and arenas?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, without writing that record, we wouldn't have been chosen as support acts by those bands that brought us out. And we did some really different tour. We did some, we're doing arenas with Bring Me the Horizon one week, and then like stadiums with 5 Seconds of Summer another week.
Like, who does that?
And it was cool, and very different crowds. And I think from that as well, from that live experience, we were like, okay, we just want to write songs that make us feel good in that live, moment.
Right.
And we want to be playing songs to thousands of people, something that can connect with everyone in the room. Right. Whether it's a tiny club or a stadium. So we definitely took that on board, and I guess I wouldn't say it changed our songwriting in particular, but when we're kind of laying it down, we're just like, is this going to feel good playing it in that environment? If it was a yes, then it went on the record. Right.
But how are you guys able to, because I mean, when you guys were starting to write this record, you guys were just getting off tour with Bring Me the Horizon, right? So how did that not kind of influence your sound to change to something a little harder?
I mean, I think we'd already sort of gone down that path anyway, because we'd written Everybody just as a one-off song,
right?
And that
which I really like. It
also,
sticks out, but I really like.
I mean, that was the first song from Technology of the new batch, and that was just we knew after Automatic we wanted to do something different, and we've never tried to be like a heavy band before. We've never really thought about. First record, you just put out what you're writing. Second record, we wanted it to be kind of smooth and kind of really focus on those pop influences. And then we just thought, what's the opposite of that? Let's go, let's really embrace that heavier side to us. Right. And then I guess, touring with Bring Me, and, they've got some some incredible just breakdowns and riffs, and that
band is insane,
and that energy that you get from that and touring with it, I'm sure that when subconsciously when we're writing it, we're like, yeah, this is gonna rock. So
with since you mentioned Everybody, when I first listened to that song, the screams in the beginning, I seriously thought that Craig Owens from Chiodos. Are you familiar? I thought he jumped in and did some vocals on there. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Well, Matt's got we give Matt all the really hard parts.
You got all the screams in there?
Not so much the screams.
No, I'm just a bit of a dog's body. Throw me in anything that Rob needs me to do.
All the hard stuff. Good to Matt.
You just show the face. That's what it is.
I'm just like, yeah, Matt, can you just handle this? Because it's a bit tough for me.
So back to the album in the studio. What was like the biggest challenge that you guys had creating this record, whether it was a song in particular or just a sound in particular?
I think the biggest challenge when doing this record was the idea that going into it, nothing was that set in stone. As Bobby said earlier, we tend to need to know exactly how it's going to pan out from the get-go and almost go into the studio with finished tracks.
Right.
Whereas this time it's like, okay, it's going to be very fluid. Everything's going to move around. Everything's going to change. And that is a difficult thing to kind of become used to when you're so not used to doing it that way.
Right, exactly. It's like starting over again.
Exactly, yeah. But now, I think having been through that process, it's incredibly liberating, and it's put us in a place where going into the next record, we can be far more, not carefree, but kind of less worried about the journey and more just have faith in the fact that the product is going to be sick regardless of how we get there.
Right.
I think it's way more fun just going in with a half-finished track as well, and that's kind of now our mentality. It's like if we know there's some good shit in there. Right. We know we like what we've got already. It's only going to get better once you're in the studio, and then it keeps that studio time fun and exciting because you don't know which kind of turn it's going to take.
Another thing I appreciate about you guys with your music is that you guys gave me 15 tracks, not 10, not 11, not 9, like 15 full tracks. So it's like. I, was pleasantly, like the first time I listened to the record, I was like, I was stuck in traffic going home and I'm like, this record's still on. Like, this is insane. Like, this is so good. So how are you guys able to pull off 15 tracks at a time? you know, when other artists are, you know, trying to get out a single?
I think the way it happened by accident, really. The way it happened for us, you know, this record was, you know, while we were writing the album, we had such a frustrating experience on our second record where the label we were with at the time wouldn't let us release any music until it was completely finished, mixed, mastered. And you're sitting on this album that you finished months ago.
By the time you tour it, you're done.
Totally. We just want people to hear it. So, you know, we kind of took the power back on this record. And as soon as we had a song we were happy with, we just put it out. You know, we shot a video and released it, or just put it up on our, you know, on the Spotify. So, you know, I think by doing that, when it eventually came to releasing the album, we were like, well, people have probably heard like 4 or 5 songs anyway. We want to shortchange people, like our fans who've already heard half the tracks. You know, if you've released 4 or 5 singles up front, you then don't want to put out a 10-track album.
That's true. It turns into an EP to them.
Yeah. So we wanted to give our fans something to look forward to, and you know, the longer the album is, the more kind of scope you've got to play around with the different ideas within the record and get away with songs that don't necessarily sound like each other, because you're giving this kind of full body of work. So we love albums. We love listening to albums in full and understanding an artist, you know, the scope of an artist's you know, influences and you know, I think when you hear a load of singles are great too. You know, we love writing singles, but you know, you just got a lot more freedom with a long album too.
Right. Now, as you guys are on tour right now, since you guys have more music to release, or more music out to your fans, like, what does the set list look like? Is it constantly changing throughout every tour, throughout every night?
I think we kind of try and we obviously play the songs that we love and the singles that people want to hear, but we do kind of think about the audience we're playing to as well, and then we'll kind of tweak it from show to show, what's going down well, what people seem to be enjoying, because ultimately they're there to see the show, so we want to give them a good time, rather than just pleasing ourselves and playing some random, you know, B-side from whatever. So yeah, I think that's how we kind of do it.
Awesome. So this tour wraps up. You guys start another your headline in the UK, right? And then, you know, what else can we expect for you guys for the new year?
So yeah, we're gonna be. So yeah, it's we'll finish our tour end of February in the UK, and we're gonna be coming back to the States. We can't announce it yet, but we've got a tour in the spring we're really excited about, with a load of awesome bands. So we're going to be coming back. We're going to just be in America forever, it feels like.
That's perfect. That works for me.
We're here a lot now, and it's great. You know, last year was the first time we ever got to tour here. Yeah. So we just want to come back and keep at it. And then after that, our first headline shows. We're thinking about our first headline shows in the US, which would be cool. Oh man,
it's time.
It feels your time. I think like it will be a while, but like I guess like summer kind of post festival season, we're going to be looking to do that, which is exciting.
Amazing. I can't wait for that. Now, you guys, lastly, your last tour that you guys did was with 30 Seconds to Mars, another band that like I really love. Their shows, their stage show is just incredible. What was that experience like for you guys? Who wants to answer that one?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, something that was maybe peculiar for a band, like you don't normally find yourself in this position, but when we were doing the shows at 30 Seconds to Mars, it was like, you know, one day we'd be with them and then the next day we were with Mike, and we were kind of piggybacking these 2 tours across Europe, and it was crazy to see the differences, but they both put on these incredible massive shows, and Jared is such a incredible like magnetic front man. He's like you almost can't take your eyes off him when he's performing, and it's just the outfits he chooses and the, you know, the huge songs. It's the full package.
He's always had this Jesus vibe to him, but I feel like this
really
touring cycle, he's really like he's really become this rock and roll Jesus figure. Like he's got all these sick like flowy jackets and coats and one piece of like that is sick that you're wearing that on stage. Just floats around the stage. It's like wow. So it's a real moment, yeah.
Does his outfits make you guys like reconsider back in the day when you guys did the Adidas jump shoots? It's like we shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, that was. I mean, we definitely made a few terrible fashion faux pas. Probably me more.
We tried a few things out.
We tried a few things out. I still love like the more space you've got on your bus, the more ridiculous outfits you can carry around. So I've toned it down a little bit this tour,
Yeah.
but I like busting out a few ridiculous jackets now and then. It's always fun.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. Congratulations with everything that's going on. I can't wait to see you guys all year round next year in the U.S. So you guys be sure to check out Don Broco. Broco, not Bronco. New album is out now. It's called Technology, and thanks for watching on Front Row Live.